What's up, everybody? I'm DJ Sixsmith. You're watching The Sit Down. Look who's here. It's Tom Lennon. He's back. What's up, man? How are you?
Things are pretty good for the circumstances, I got to say.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, last time we did this, we were in person. We were in New York City. You had a little bit of a knee scare, so we had to reschedule the interview. How's it feeling?
There's a great detail to our last interview. So what happened was the night before I was going to go on a book tour for the Ronan Boyle series, I was doing a yoga headstand before bed, like you do.
Everybody does that before bed, right?
Come on, bro. Namaste, bro. So I'm in a yoga headstand, and I fall out of it really hard. And I hit the floor. And suddenly I realize I can't really walk. And I've got it feels like somebody's putting out a cigarette in my knee at all times, which is a neat feeling if you haven't had it. And so then I flew to New York. And that next night I was on the Stephen Colbert show. And I did a sketch where we played leprechauns dancing around to promote the Ronan Boyle series. So I spent, I'd ripped my meniscus in my knee. And then I spent something like 3 or 4 hours shooting a leprechaun sketch on my knees like Dorf doing and I consider, and then they ran the clip that night, but I did a spot with Steven. I'd been on my knee all day that I'd torn pretending to be a leprechaun. And I think my greatest performance of my life is that I walked across the Ed Sullivan stage without tears pouring down my face from how much pain I was in. Guys, take your meniscus seriously. If you rip it, don't do a leprechaun sketch for 4 hours where you do a Dorf on golf. It's just
literally do anything else besides a leprechaun.
Do anything, literally anything else. But then that was fun. We got to talk at the CBS, that cool sort of fish tank room you have at CBS, which I enjoy.
Yeah, we got a good situation, but who knows when we're going back. But good news is plenty of time to watch TV, plenty of time to hang out. Reno 911 coming back on Quibi. So how'd this whole thing come together, man?
The thing came together, we have always talked about doing Reno 911 some more, but there's sort of a blessing and a curse, which is the blessing is that everybody from the cast got so successful that they all have their own shows.
Yeah.
So the curse is try to schedule a thing where they all get together. It's tough. We had dinner at before last Christmas, and just to get everybody in one room at one time it's a lot of emails. So we talked about it for quite a while. We'd never really found a scenario that it would work. And then it really comes down to a pretty specific person, which is Doug Herzog. Doug, maybe you know him. Doug was the president of MTV when we did The State. He was the president of Comedy Central when we did Viva Variety and Reno 911. But he was also briefly the president of Fox, the TV channel, when we got hired to do a sketch comedy show that fell apart and then became Reno 911. So Doug is basically, you know how I guess they say you don't make money selling somebody one car, you got to sell them 5 cars.
Right.
Somehow we've sold Reno 911 to the same guy 3 or 4 times, because Doug Herzog went to Quibi, and he was like, "Why don't you guys come do Reno 911?" And we're like, "Well, for your phone, I don't know." And then we thought about it. And we're like, "Well, it's a lot of the way you watch things anyway." And I realize now there's 25 Reno 911s coming out on Quibi.
Wow.
Yeah, and but keep in mind they're all in the 6 to 8 minute range. And the fact is, I wouldn't change it now. I wouldn't do an episode that's longer than that. In this era with my attention span, hells no. It's I've shown it to some folks. If you see Weird Al Yankovic plays Ted Nugent coming up on the show in an episode, he posts. You can look. It's on his Instagram, his Twitter, and everything. But I showed Al all the episodes when they were done because I respect his opinion a lot. And he wrote me back and he was like, I missed nothing. An 8-minute, a 7-minute Reno 911 is kind of perfect. There's just not as much, there's no fat.
It's all the good stuff. When did you and Weird Al first meet up?
So When Al got his star on the Walk of Fame, the people that presented it were Dr. Demento and me. And this is it's a slightly bizarre story, but it also is like, I think, an inspirational thing of like, this kind of thing can just happen. One morning, about 11 years ago, I was at the Staples office supply on Sunset in Boulevard. It was 11 o'clock in the morning. There was nobody there. And there was two people looking for printer toner. And there was one dude with really bizarre hair and me. And I look over and I'm like, there's only a couple guys in the world that have that kind of hairdo. This is, yeah. So I was like, and it's Weird Al. And I was like, I'm sorry, excuse me. Are you Weird Al Yankovic? And I had the mustache. And he says, why, yes, I am. Are you Lieutenant Dangle? And I said, yeah, yes, I am. And then I said, totally as a joke, I just said, well, should we just decide to be best friends then? And he said, okay, goodbye me. And we shook on it as a total joke, like as a bit we were doing at the Staples office supply. The really bizarre thing about the bit is it would end up ultimately being totally true.